Curtains came down on Sunday on the 163-year-old telegram service in India amid a last-minute rush of people thronging telegraph offices to send souvenir messages to family and friends. Even during freedom struggle, telegraph services were made a useful weapon by both British and freedom fighters. While British communicated their orders and strategies through telegrams, freedom fighters did their bit by cutting off telegraph lines. The telegram became the harbinger of good and bad news for many generations of Indians for last century or so. Once it was the fastest means of communication for millions of people. The end of the humble telegram service left behind a string of happy and bitter memories for people across the country. A large number of people, many of them youngsters and first-timers, turned up at telegraph centres in the capital and sent a message to their loved ones on the last day of the service. Nudged out by technology, emails and mobile phones, the iconic service gradually faded into oblivion, with less and less people taking recourse to it. People who support it say telegram still plays an important role in far-flung places of a country. Officials at the Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited or BSNL decided to stop the telegram services owing to considerable losses. But it is not only because of the advent of SMS, fax, emails and smartphones that the service has been called off. The charge for a telegram is far less than the cost of sending them. The first experimental electric telegraph line was started between Kolkata and Diamond Harbour in 1850. In 1854, the service was made available to the public. To keep pace with technology, it eventually becomes a web-based telegraph mailing service, which used emails to instantly convey message to the other end. The historic Ihele-Pola Walawa mansion, which has been used as a prison for nearly 195 years, was handed over to Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa on July 13th. The administration of this mansion, which was under the Sri Lanka's Prisons Department, was handed over by the Minister of Rehabilitation and Prison Reforms, Chandra Siri Gajadhira. Speaking at the ceremony, President Rajapaksa said that during the British colonial rule, 53 leading patriots, including the Ketepe Pola Nilame, who took part in the 1818 rebellion, were incarcerated at this location by the then English rulers. Since then, the mansion has been used as a prison, and more recently, 350 remand prisoners were detained at this location. The President added that the Ihele-Pola Walawa should be preserved for posterity. The Hong Kong's Consumer Council has found traces of antibiotics in 6 samples of honey. The consumer watchdog has also discovered that some expensive Manuka honey products actually contained added sugar. The Consumer Council recently tested 55 samples of honey and found traces of antibiotics in 6 products imported from the mainland China or Taiwan. The Council explained that some farmers feed antibiotics to the bees to prevent them from falling ill, but long-term consumption of honey contaminated with antibiotics can lead to the problem of drug-resistant bacteria. And treating infections by such bacteria will be challenging, so the advice is to avoid eating too much honey that contains antibiotics. The consumer watchdog has also found the purity of 14 honey samples falls short of what's claimed to by the manufacturers. They include samples of Manuka honey, the most expensive of which costs more than $500 a jar. Yet more than half of them contain added sugar. The Consumer Council has handed the test results to the Customs and Excise Department to see if the manufacturers violated product labelling regulations. People all over the world were mesmerized by the Korean hit song Gangnam Style. The music video has been viewed more than 1.7 billion times, and it remained at the number 2 spot of the Billboard single chart for 7 straight weeks. Thanks to the popularity of the song, Korea's national brand ranked 13th last year, moving up 2 notches from the previous year. Moreover, trade in the culture and entertainment service sectors posted a surplus for the first time ever. Gangnam Style has also changed the way K-pop artists debut overseas. They've started to get the best out of the internet by posting teasers, interviews and music videos on YouTube. As a result, K-pop content is now viewed on the website 3 times as much as before. However, Gangnam Style also reveals hurdles that Korea's pop culture is facing. Psy's song Gentleman, which was the singer's first song to be released after the skyrocketing success of Gangnam Style, turned out to be less successful than its predecessor. It showed that success can't just be copied. K-pop will have to muster up new ways to continue spawning creativity and innovation in the likes of Gangnam Style. Afghanistan has seen many changes after the fall of the Taliban regime, as most Afghans support peace and freedom, refusing to return to the life in the past. Kabul's Olympic Stadium is the only sports ground in the city. Last year, stadium officials laid down turf, making it the ideal place for soccer games and sports training. However, it was the place for executions each Friday during the Taliban's rule. Many people were killed at the field. Outside of the stadium, change is seen everywhere. Females can now show their faces, while not that long ago they were only allowed to wear burqas, which covered all of the body except for the eyes. Western-style garments that were forbidden previously are also allowed nowadays. There are also more television programs for residents to watch. The Taliban opened an office in Qatar on June 18th and hung out the regime's flag and name tab, which drew worry from Afghans who thought the Taliban could recapture power in the country. Protesters in many cities demonstrated against the Taliban's behaviors, refusing to return coalition government. Local political analysts say it is impossible for the Taliban to recapture power, even though they have thousands of militants. Their only way back into political sphere is to follow the developing trends in the current era in order to gain public support. Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has inaugurated the country's biggest dry dock in the southern province of Hormozgan for the maintenance of Iran's ocean-going vessels. The dry dock can accommodate 300,000-ton tanker ships up to 370 meters long, 80 meters wide and 14.5 meters high, in addition to 140,000 cubic meter LNG carriers with a length of 470 meters, a width of 80 meters and a height of 14.5 meters. The Bandar Abbas dry dock was constructed at a cost of $443 million, which was entirely financed by Iran Shipbuilding and Offshore Industries Complex Company. The project has created 5,000 direct jobs and is expected to create almost 40,000 indirect jobs through its contribution to the development of affiliated industries in the province. The dry dock will enable Iran to earn 300 million euros per annum by building 2 oil and gas tanker ships and overhauling at least 17 other vessels per year. He also opened the newly expanded Persian Gulf Mineral and Metal Industries Free Zones Wharf that is now capable of accepting ships of up to 150,000 tons. People gathered in the town of Gujo in central Japan for the start of the 33-day dance festival. The event dates back 400 years. It started when a new feudal lord wanted to bring samurai rulers and local residents together. The Japanese government has designated it an important intangible folk cultural property. Dances are staged every year from mid-July to early September in the Gifu Prefecture city. On Saturday night, a float carried people playing Japanese flutes and beating drums through the town to the site. Local residents and visitors from across the country wore yukata and a cotton summer kimono and danced in the rain. One dancer said she was looking forward to performing and will enjoy the night despite the rain. Organizers say they expect 300,000 people to attend the festival this year. A team of Japanese researchers has started installing a new tsunami observing system on the Pacific Ocean seabed that promises even faster, more precise warnings. Japan's National Research Institute for Earth Science and Disaster Prevention plans to complete the national project in about 2 years. A vessel began placing instruments in seas of Chiba Prefecture near Tokyo Tuesday last week. The instruments are seismographs and recorders that detect tsunamis by observing changes in water pressure. These instruments are contained in metal tubes that are being installed at 150 locations on the seabed on both sides of the Japan Trench. The deep-sea trench runs off the coast of eastern Japan from Chiba Prefecture to the northernmost island of Hokkaido. Observation data will be sent via a 5,700-kilometer underwater cable. If an earthquake occurs near the Japan Trench, the seismographs will help the meteorological agency issue earthquake warnings by several tenths of seconds earlier than now. The tsunami recorders are also likely to detect tsunamis faster than instruments at coastal observation posts. A researcher from the institute says a huge earthquake is highly likely to occur in the region around the Japan Trench where the March 2011 quake and tsunami took place. He says he hopes the improved data gathering will help save lives and reduce damage. The refurbishments to the city of Lhasa in southwest China's Tibet Autonomous Region have received great praise from tourists from around the world. The renovations to Lhasa's town were completed on June 30th, allowing the heart of Tibetan culture to embark on a new era after its 6-month makeover. Visitors have been impressed by the combination of tradition and modernity on the main street of the old town, with the wide roads and convenient signposts indicating the better infrastructure and safer environment. The sidewalks have been repaved to make them more convenient and beautiful, another resident said. The upgrades to existing facilities have helped revitalize the city, but the importance the renovation project attached to the preservation of centuries-old buildings has also been vital. The $250 million project paid great attention to the preservation of Tibet's unique cultural heritage. Historical compounds in the old town are now better protected thanks to the project, and tourists could not be happier. Tourists visiting the city cannot resist taking pictures everywhere they go, as the city's new look continues to astound them. Lhasa has a history of more than 1,300 years. The old town, which covers 1.3 square kilometers, is currently home to over 80,000 residents. An army of galloping horses created a magnificent view at the opening ceremony of the Heavenly Horse International Tourism Festival in Jiangsu County of Ilai Kazakh Autonomous Prefecture, northwestern China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. Tourists burst into applause as they watched the horses emerge from afar on the grasslands and dived down the slope. Many described the scene as breathtaking and said they were expecting more, as the festival offers a list of horse-related activities, including horse racing, equestrian contests, and various folk shows during the 4-day event. The festival also features a forum on the horse industry, a horse adoption event, and an auction.